Hey guys, it's Kat and I'm back today to talk about my recent favourites and fails, whether it's May, April, I don't know what's going on. We're back in lockdown in Melbourne, so time is not a thing. So yeah, but it's June, so let's reflect on the last couple months of favourites and fails. There's some really good products here and some really, well, one particular really crap product. So we'll talk about the crap products at the end, so we'll try to keep it light and fun here. All right, I've got two products that jump out at me as being like my favorites of May, and then there's a product that probably is jumping out as being like a favorite of April. Okay, I'm going to start with skincare because I did do a bit of a haul a couple of weeks ago. I think because I've been in lockdown, or like we've been expecting lockdown. I don't know, I've just been a bit spendy and buying stuff online that I don't necessarily need. But I did do a skincare haul with Paulas Choice because they had a 20% off and free shipping thing going on, which they often do. And I noticed that I was running really low in certain aspects of my skincare routine. So when it comes to actives, so like serums, I have no hyaluronic acid. I'm onto my last retinol and I've got a little bit left. I've got a tiny bit left of vitamin C. So I'm pretty much low or out of all actives that I sort of use in my routine. And the only things I have in abundance is like moisturizers, cleansers, and toners, because I don't really use toners. So I decided it's a perfect time to try some Paula's Choice. It's a brand that I have only tried one product of in the past, and I've heard such good things that I was like, as soon as I need things, I'll buy some. So I did a fairly big order. I bought 2 retinols, one sort of low concentration, one a higher one that I can sort of start with the lower, work up to the higher. Hyaluronic acid, vitamin C, niacinamide. Is that all I ordered? Anyway, I ordered quite a few things. I did ask on Instagram what people's recommendations were from the brand, and the biggest recommendation was their best-selling product, their BHA sort of liquid. So it's like a toner product. And I actually had that in my stash, and it's been at the back of my cupboard under my sink for the longest time. It was unopened, and I thought, look, I'll pull this out at some stage and start using it. But the funny thing about it is I had a bottle of this years and years and years ago. This is also quite old, but the original one I had, I didn't really see any great results with. Now, mind you, I probably used it going on like 8 years ago. So maybe my skin was just in a lot better condition, or younger. I know it was definitely younger. So I just never really got behind it. I didn't really see any great results. I didn't really get the hype. And that's why I let this one, when I had a second bottle, which I think I got in, I think I got this in one of those beauty boxes back in the day. And I thought, because, you know, I didn't love it first time around, I'll just get around to it eventually. So I actually opened this up waiting for my order, and I thought I'll start using it, and I love it. My skin is probably the best it's been in quite a few years. I'm just thinking back to when I last had a facial, which was probably like 2 years ago now. I had like microdermabrasion, and after using this for maybe like 4 or 5 days, my skin feels like I've just had microdermabrasion. This is such a good product. I just don't know why my skin didn't really like it first time around. And it's quite funny because my friend Simon, who runs a blog, The Skincare Obsessive, I said to him, like, what do you recommend from Paula's Choice? He goes, I haven't really used much Paula's Choice. I used their BHA a few years ago and I didn't really like it. And so I was like, yes, same. And then I was speaking to him after I'd used this for a few days and I was like, oh my God, I'm loving it. So he pulled his out, tried it, and was like, oh my God, my skin's loving it too. So I'm loving this. I've only been using it for about 2 weeks now, and it's totally turned my skin around, and I haven't been using any other products with it. So I am slowly sort of replacing products I use up with my new Paula's Choice products. So I haven't really incorporated any other products that I picked up yet, but this has made a world of difference. I now just touch my skin and I'm like, the texture that was once there is now gone, and it feels like I've had a facial. So I love this stuff. It does look a little bit different. If you're buying it now, I'll have a photo on the screen. Packaging has changed. But I totally get the hype around this now. It's such a good product, and I will keep using that and keep raving about that. I also feel like it's supposed to, so it says it creates radiant, even toned skin. It reduces redness, builds collagen, unclogs and diminishes enlarged pores. So I've actually seen some of those results within a few days of using this. I do use it daily. So in the first week, I definitely saw like smoother skin, unclogged pores, diminishing the look of pores, the feel of pores. But I feel like in the second week as well, I started seeing some redness in my skin diminish, because I do have quite a lot of redness in my skin, which is why I need to sort of wear some coverage most days. And I feel like this is minimizing it a bit. So I can't wait to keep using this. I love it, and it's definitely going to be something I keep repurchasing, because it's the only skincare item I've used in the last few years that I've noticed a significant, like almost instant change with, which is crazy. All right, so that's my all-time favorite product of the last couple of months, but my next one has to be these. These are new lip products from Kaleidos. I was gifted these in PR. I did a full review of the Flower Punk collection, which I'll link in the description box below. I'll list all the products that I talk about, and if I've done any videos featuring them, I'll list the videos too. So these are fantastic. These are lip sets. There's 2 of them available. I really want them to release these individually, because, you know, buying 4 lip products at once is a bit much. And if you don't love the colors, it's a little bit less enticing, but the formula is fantastic. So this quad is the one that has the darker, brighter, sort of more interesting colors. There's a pink, a red, a dark brown, and a dark teal. I lip swatched them all in my review video. I'll have a photo on the screen of me wearing the brown one. I love the brown. Normally, I'm not a fan of a dark brown lip. It just doesn't really suit me, but this tone is perfection. So I feel like all the shades in here are really flattering tones, even though they might be a little bit out there, like the dark sort of teal color. I'm currently wearing the red one, which I think is the shade Dahlia, and I feel like it gives a really beautiful sort of liquid lipstick version of MAC Ruby Woo. So it's that sort of vintage, blotted, beautiful looking, really matte lip. And I think it's the most stunning effect. I love these. I also really, really love the nude set, which sold out fairly quickly. I understand why, because they're all fantastic. So there's different undertones of nudes. Again, I swatched them all and lip swatched them all in the video. My favorite by far is, what's this one shade? Terra? Yeah, Terra. This is like a terracotta shade. It's phenomenal. I think it's such a beautiful shade. I love it. We're currently in winter, and this sort of like orangey terracotta shade, I just love it with a warm eye. Oh, it's so good. So the shades I think are really, really flattering shades, but what I love about this formula, which I didn't even say the formula because that's how shit I am at filming these videos. So these are the Cloud Lab Lipclays. And the thing that's really interesting about these is that they're a sort of moussey silicone feel to the lips. They give that matte look similar to like a silicone primer, but they do actually settle down to being quite budge proof. So they go on quite creamy, and they do have a bit of color behind them, as you can see with the red, but as soon as you touch your lips, there's no transfer, or very, very little. No, there's no transfer. So even though these are a matte product, they feel very, very comfortable on the lips, because what they sort of do, which is really strange and very, very unique, I've only seen a couple of lip products do something like it, is the color sets down on the lip, so it ends up being budge proof, and then it has like a moisturizing layer of like a silicone feel to it. So it looks matte, but it's comfortable and it doesn't transfer. The only downside is that these don't last super well through eating, but they do last really nicely on their own, and as long as you touch up after you eat, not a real big deal. The only things that I can really compare these to, and it's sort of in the way it performs rather than the finish of it, because the finish is very different. The Tony Moly Shocking Lip Stains, which I love, 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 love. They're a liquid lip stain that you apply. The stain adheres to the lips, and then it almost has this moisturizing gloss layer that settles on the top, covers your lips, keeping it nice and hydrated, but you can sort of kiss your hand or touch things and the stain doesn't transfer, because the stain has already set to your lips, and then that gloss layer keeps it looking glossy. And that's the only thing that sort of transfers, is like a clear gloss. And I haven't tried these, but I know Linda Hallberg also brought out these sort of glossy lip products that are very pigmented, very glossy. You apply them to the lips, let them set for a bit, and it almost is like the color like stays on the lips, and then there's like a high shine gloss finish that just coats it, and that's the only thing that transfers. So those are the closest things that I can compare to this formula, because this formula again does have that sort of setting and then that hydration layer, but instead of it being a high shine gloss, it's more like a silicone sort of slip that makes things look really matte and blotted, but doesn't make your lips feel dry like a traditional matte liquid lipstick. So these are really, really interesting. Kind of confusing to explain, but gorgeous on the lips, really comfortable, and I love that they don't transfer. It just makes them so much easier to wear on a daily basis. While we're there, I may as well talk about the palette that came in that collection as well, because I really do love this palette. I don't wear it daily, just because it is a colorful palette and I don't wear colors on a daily basis. But today, I'm not sure if you can tell, but I'm wearing browns on the top, which is just my project pan. And then I'm wearing this chartreuse green underneath. And then I put a little bit of the dark green in the outer corner. So I can quite easily inject some of these shades into a daily look just to add a little bit of interest into the look. So this is the Kaleidos Makeup Flower Punk palette. Now it is like a inglot freedom system where the lid comes off. I did explain in my review that I don't really love this just because I feel like the mirror is a little bit useless. I had a few people comment that the mirror is not useless because they like to use mirrors, which is fine. And so you can actually hold it and do your makeup, which again is totally fine. But I find that when I do use a mirror in a palette, I'm often sitting somewhere where I don't have a desk in front of me. So I like to hold my palette, hold my brush, and I like a mirror to be attached so I can sort of use all three together. But what is the downside of this mirror is that you can sort of clip it like that. So the outside is facing up, but the magnets actually repel when you try to clip it with the mirror. And also the magnets aren't strong enough to attach from the back. So it's an interesting concept because you can attach the lid in different ways, but you can't actually attach it in a practical way where you can hold the palette and the mirror together, which is what my criticism of the packaging was, and hold that together and then use your brush and use the palette and mirror together. That was my criticism. I don't think I explained it properly. This would have been a much better design if you could have attached the mirror and used it together. Whereas as it is, that doesn't quite cut it for me. When I'm not needing to use the mirror, I do quite like that you can just take this off and use it as a palette like on a desk. But if I'm going to be using this at a desk, I've got like my stand mirror to use instead. So I still think this mirror isn't super functional, but hopefully that explains it a little bit better than my review did. Anyway, I do really like this palette. I haven't, since the review, I haven't gone back and used the pinks and the mints because I sort of can dupe the pinks a little bit with some of the shades in my project pan, and the mint is not a color I go for on a daily basis, but I have gone back to use these greens like not regularly, but at least a handful of times, which is really good because I finished my review maybe 2 weeks ago. So the fact that I want to keep using these is a really good sign. I didn't think the colors were going to go super well together, but I did find that if you're careful, you can definitely pair the greens with the pinks, or the pinks with the mints, or the mints with the green, or all of them in one look, which I did in my review. And they do complement quite nicely, but I do particularly like using these 4 shades just with some brown. And I did also want to compare this to, where is it? The Futurism palette from Kaleidos. This is the Sci-Fi Green. I was actually quite disappointed in this palette because I do love grungy greens, which is what this palette is all about. But you'll be able to tell how different the shades are in like just the vibrancy. I found that this was sort of like trying to dupe, it looked like it was trying to dupe the Melt, what do you call it, palette? Gemini palette. But the shades were just really sort of dull. Whereas this palette, they've ramped up the pigmentation, and these are really vibrant greens, which is exactly what I like from a grungy green. So hopefully you can see what I'm talking about. These are from the Futurism. I'm not just getting stuff everywhere. And these are from the Flower Punk. They're a lot more intense. These almost look like grayed out greens, whereas these look really, really vibrant and punchy. I didn't swatch the shimmer. Let's swatch the shimmer. But you can see again, that's a lot more vibrant than this one here. So I love this. Yeah, I really didn't like the Futurism palette. And when I did review it, I compared it to the Gemini palette and I was just like, it looks like the Gemini palette, but with the saturation turned right down, and it just wasn't that flattering or that interesting. Whereas with this one, they've turned the saturation up again. It's gorgeous. So I do have that really vibrant chartreuse shade just run along my lower lash line today, and some of that dark green just in the outer corner at the top and the lower lash line, and I love it. So it looks a little bit intimidating and quite scary. It's quite a bright shade, but it is actually a really beautiful, flattering shade if you suit these tones of green. And you should know, if you're a green lover, you'll know if you prefer sort of teals or sort of more blue tone greens, or if you prefer the sort of grungy yellow tone greens. And if you love the yellow tone greens, you'll love the 4 shades in here. They're gorgeous. All right, my favorite thing probably throughout April was a bronzer. Now I haven't used this heaps because I am trying to pan some bronzers, but when I want to play with makeup and use things that I'm loving, I've been reaching for this as my bronzer. This is by NARS. It's a limited edition Laguna Sunkissed Bronzing Cream. Now I think this is also in Casino, so I've got 2 shades available. They are limited edition. They do have this nice sort of bronze shiny packaging, and this is a beautiful mousse bronzer. You probably can't see it today, but I am wearing it today, sort of like buffed here and just around there and whatever. This is a really beautiful cream bronzer. I use it with something like a little buffing brush like this. So this is the Refa 17 brush. I like using this one because it's quite small, and this is actually quite pigmented. So I find that if you just lightly tap a brush in there and then just start where you want it to be the darkest and sort of just blend it, a little does go a long way. And what is also fantastic about this bronzing cream is that you can apply it over set matte makeup. Cream products are notorious for lifting your base. If you have oily skin like me and you need to use more matte sort of set makeup, they can lift and make your makeup sit patchy. This one doesn't do that. I buffed this over a set base today and it just blended seamlessly. So don't need to worry about applying this under your powder, which is great. If you've got drier skin and you just use a sort of dewy foundation and you don't set your foundation, you'll love this as well because it blends like a dream. The tone is really, really pretty. It's just like Laguna. I love the tone. It's not too warm. It's not too cool. This should be made permanent. It's such a lovely product. I do want to actually compare it to a couple of things I have in my collection that I do like, but I feel like this, I don't know, I feel like this is a little bit more versatile. One that I do really like, which is a classic, but this has been reformulated, so it's not as good as it once was. This is the original, the good one. This is the Soleil Tan de Chanel, so it's like a universal bronzing cream. It comes in 1 shade, which is shit, and it is a mousse. You can see that it's a lot lighter, so compared to Laguna, it is a lot lighter, quite warm. This is, you can use it to sort of bronze over your base, but it can also be used on your sort of bare skin as a bronzer or to bronze under your foundation. So if you want to have like a bronzing base, this is sort of like a multi-use sort of product. You can use it however you want. Compared to this one, which is swatched there, by the way, I know it's quite light. The NARS one is a lot more pigmented and dark. So the NARS one is actually a lot more similar to the Huda Beauty Tantour. This is a contour and bronzer cream in the shade Fair. So this is one I've had in my collection for a while, so you can see that it is similar tone. Laguna and Fair are quite similar. This is the lightest shade in the range, so you can go a lot deeper. And this is, again, quite a pigmented cream product. So compared to Laguna, there you go, Laguna, and that's Fair from Huda Beauty. The difference between them is this feels a little bit greasier. So this feels a little bit moussier. This feels a little bit oilier. And it means that this one does lift your base if you've set it. So this one you really do need to put down before you powder, otherwise it will lift your foundation, whereas this moussey sort of consistency can be applied over your set base. So I much prefer this over this, and I feel like because it is a moussier consistency rather than sort of an oilier consistency, it blends out a lot nicer. This is a nice product, but you can sort of overdo it a lot faster than you can the NARS one. So this is a little bit just easier to use, and you can get, I find a little bit more natural effects without as much effort. And this one again is a mousse that you can sort of apply under, over, set base. It's totally fine, but it just isn't as pigmented. So it's more of an overall bronzer rather than a contour. I'm actually really intrigued to try some of NARS's mousse sort of blush products they brought out. I think it was last year sometime, because I love this bronzer. The concealer is like has become one of my all-time favorite concealers. I'm actually in the process at the moment of I got 2 samples of lighter shades. I want to sort of find my winter concealer shade because this is more of a summer shade. I love, love, love NARS sort of cream face products. I sort of want to complete this duo with a blush, so I might pick up one of those in the near future. Speaking of blush, I did pick up a couple of new blushes, and these are liquid blushes. I will do a recapping my recent purchases video because I have been buying a few things. I'm just waiting for some orders to come in, but I did buy a couple of new Cosmetics serum blushes. So I previously had Venetian Rose, which is a beautiful sort of pinky, nudie rose color. And I wanted to pick up some more orangey shades. So I picked up Peachy Peach and also Sunset Sky. I really like these. I think these are such nice products. They're very annoying to open because the dropper can sometimes, with the suction and whatnot, it doesn't pick up product properly. Like now, it's just giving me air. Damn you. Supposed to like hold it when it's closed and then open it while holding it. I just think they should put it in like a squeezy tube and just make it a lot easier, but that gave me a little bit good. That technique didn't even work for Sunset Sky, so let's give that a second shot. No, again, didn't work. Okay, now I'm gonna hold it and close it while it's pressed down, suck up product. And then we got some. Okay, so that took 5 attempts to get that one out. So those are my new shades there. So Sunset Sky is like a cherry color, and Peachy Peach is like a peachy orange. It does look quite orange just in a swatch, but then on the face it does look quite peachy orange, whereas I feel like Sunset Sky looks quite, there's a lot of warmth in it, so a lot of orange, but then on the cheeks it almost looks like candy apple red. So these are really beautiful products. These I would consider a cheek oil. That's how I would describe them because they're super shiny. I'm not too sure if you can see with the swatches. I'll have a video of me. I decided to take a little video sort of showing how it looks on the skin, and these are super, super dewy. So I really like these because I love the effect it gives. It does give a wet look oil finish to the skin, and it does make your skin feel a little bit tacky. So if you touch your face, there will be a bit of a tackiness to your face, but it looks gorgeous. And on my oily skin, I can wear these. I feel like it's best applied with your fingers, so just tapped on, or with a sponge. I feel like if you apply these with a brush, it lifts your foundation. If you apply it over too much of a set base, it can lift your foundation. So what I tend to do when I want to wear these is I'll just set my T-zone with a bit of powder, sort of leave my cheeks bare, and then I'll go in and sort of tap on some of this product, and it's a really, really gorgeous look. I don't think I have anything else in my collection like it, but again, it is a little bit tacky, and there is a little bit of a learning curve in not only getting the product out, but also applying it in a way that doesn't sort of disrupt your base. So I think these are gorgeous though. I really love them. I particularly like these 2 shades. So Peachy Peach is a nice orangey peach, and Venetian Rose is a beautiful nude. This one is a little bit clownish on me, but I can sort of mix and match and make shades. So totally fine. Really like these. I do think they should change the packaging though. I think these little balls are cute. These little like glass bulbs. But whenever I see them post about these, there's always people in the comments saying your packaging doesn't work very well, and they always come back to be like, no, you're not using it right. No, your packaging just doesn't work very well. If majority of your customers struggle getting the product out, they should really change these into a tube, and I think these would be like super raved about products because they give such a gorgeous effect. All right, on to a couple of fails. Speaking of Cosmetics, I consider their mascara a fail. I have tried a few lip products from them. I have tried mainly blush products from them. And oh, I've tried liquid liners. They're really beautiful. But the one thing I don't like is actually their mascara. I just feel like it's a very wet mascara that makes my lashes clumpy and sort of spiky looking. You know when a mascara is so wet that it sort of just makes your lashes sort of droop and then like clump together and look spiky. That's what this does. And I was going to put this in my project pan, but I decided I used it over a couple of weeks and I was like, I don't like this. Also, it doesn't melt off with cleansing oils. It's more like a tubing mascara. So you need to use warm water and like just sort of remove it and like sheets of it come off. I don't really love that either. I don't have many great things to say about this mascara, unfortunately. And also, it doesn't give me the volume or the length that I desire. It just gives me sort of like these things. So I'm actually probably going to declutter this because it's not a favorite of mine. Another thing I'm going to declutter is the By Terry Hyaluronic Hydra Powder. This is cursed in my opinion. I have oily skin, so sort of those setting powders that set down to a matte finish, I enjoy. They make my makeup last really well. This was beyond. This didn't feel super dry when you're applying it, but it just makes your makeup look dry. So I'm actually in the middle of trying to test out all of my foundations and decide if I want to keep them or get rid of them. And I started testing them while I was setting them with this. And it was a bad time. Pretty much it made all my foundations I was trying look horrible on me. And it looked patchy. There were foundations that clung to certain areas and just looked, I don't know, like it was about to flake off my face, and it was just nasty. And it took me, I think, 6 foundations to realize that the common denominator is this, and they weren't shit foundations, it was just a shit powder. So yeah, this to me makes all my foundations look bad, even though I've got oily skin and this type of powder is perfect for me. It just makes everything sit looking cakey, flaky, dry, desert, horrible. So this is also a powder that's going. I can't get behind it. It ruins all my bases. Oh, another thing I've really been loving, I should talk about this. It's in my project pan basket, so I didn't have it out. A mascara that I love and I used up and I'm really sad is actually this. Oh my God, I love this. I love this mascara so much that I would probably put it in with my skincare, my lip products, and this as being like my top 3 favorites of the last couple of months. This Maybelline mascara I love. Talking about how much I don't like this, I think trying it off the back of finishing this just emphasized how much I don't like this. So the Maybelline Falsies Lash Lift Mascara is so good. This is dry. I've used this right to the last little dregs of it. It's a nice shaped wand. It gets all the lashes. It is dry enough that it grips the lashes and coats them really well. It creates a long fluttery effect. It's just such a good mascara, to the point that I have quite a few mascaras in my collection and I bought a backup of this. After I used it up, I was like, no, I can't be without it. And I actually bought the black as black version. So instead of the purple, it's black. I can't wait to try it, but I couldn't be without this because it's such a good mascara. I've actually moved on to my Benefit Roller Lash, which I've had open for a while, but all I want to do is go back to my Maybelline mascara. So yeah, Maybelline wins over M Cosmetics, Benefit, any other mascara that I feel like using. I just want to use this Maybelline one. So if you're on a bit of a budget and you can buy this on sale, which is what I did, I highly recommend it. It's a great mascara and should been mentioned much earlier in this video. I just forgot about it because it's in my project pan tub. So that is officially it for my favorites and fails of April, May. Let me know what you've been loving or hating over the last couple of months, and I'll be back very soon with my project pan update. So I'll see you guys then. Bye.